Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today is January 22nd here, and now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery here. We're building some high pressure over the Intermountain West. It's going to bring some strong offshore winds to much of the state of California. Santa Ana's all the way down through Southern California. Then we're going to focus on the extended forecast as well. Confidence is increasing at some weather systems impacting the state of California through the later forecast period here. We'll take a look at some of the timing on that and what we can expect here in a moment. Looking at the high wind warning across Southern California has now been upgraded from a watch to a warning. Anaheim and Ontario, Riverside out there, Lake Elsinore. You guys know the drill across a lot of the areas here. Some places get some pretty big winds, especially towards the gap areas of the higher terrain here. Gusts to 70 miles per hour here, and you can see all the threats associated with that. Wind advisory for up to 50 miles per hour in the lighter tan areas shown there. This is National Weather Service Los Angeles. You can see calling for those big gusts up towards 70 miles per hour. You guys know the threats with that activity out there. Hazardous driving conditions are possible. Nice graphic here from the National Weather Service Los Angeles. This is a little bit further north across the Bay Area and the Valley, including the Sierra Nevada here for some high wind warnings. Gusts to 55 miles per hour shown in this, and this would go all the way in through Monday, January 23rd. Now taking a look at what's going on here. Briefly, you can see that we've got some high pressure building up over the interior here. So we're going to go from high to low. That's why this offshore component exists. It's going to be a big wind shift from what we were getting with these atmospheric rivers and these big winds across much of the state here over a week ago now. But you can see it here on the right, 2,500 feet, 925 millibars. It kind of shows that offshore component there of the winds across much of the state of California as we go on in through Wednesday coming up here. You can see it continues on in through Wednesday afternoon shown there. And that's as far out as last night's European model run goes. Now taking a look at this across some of the Bay Area and the higher terrain. Look at this, wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, offshore winds. Again, big wind shift from what we were getting with those atmospheric rivers. So watch out for that. Winds will start to increase this afternoon, peak in the higher terrain Monday morning. Taking a look at the HRRR, 3 kilometer. These are actual wind gusts for Southern California. You can see these pretty impressive gusts all the way up the coastline in some areas here. Kind of saves the Los Angeles metro, though. It doesn't get too windy there comparatively, just down a bit southeast and across some of the higher terrain in the gap. You guys know the drill with the Santa Ana winds if you've been out there any length of time. Anyway, now looking at the NAM3 cam, pretty similar picture here versus the European that I just showed you here. But you can see those strong winds extending all the way out of the coastline, some of Ventura and Santa Barbara Mountains as well, the gap areas that are typically windy in Santa Ana events here. Now, taking a look here, maximum individual wave height. You can see there's some swell moving down the coastline today, so watch out for those sneaker waves. Some pretty intense swell actually showing up here as we go through tonight. How much will this impact some of the coastal areas is still yet to be seen, but you can see there is some big swell offshore. So just kind of have that in the back of your mind there for that sneaker wave potential here. Now, taking a look here, a little bit further out, we're going to go towards the extended forecast now. You can see a weak system moving through the Pacific Northwest shown there. And as we go out a little bit further, we start to get this Arctic air moving down into the Pacific Northwest here and kind of out over the coastline here. Look at some of the storm development off the California coast as we go on into next weekend would be shown here. So the first impacts in Northern California look like it would be coming in Friday night on in through Saturday, Sunday, then into Monday morning here. Kind of a slow-moving storm here could build up some additional snow across the Sierra Nevada and bring some heavier rain totals across some of the state here. Still some uncertainty with how these storms are going to develop here off the coast, though, but you can see an additional storm after that through the 8 to 10 day period shown there, bringing some additional rain and snow for the Sierras across California there. So looks like things are going to pick up again here towards the end of the month on into early February for California. This is looking at 700 millibars, 10,000 feet, Washington, Oregon, California shown there. There goes yesterday's system through the Pacific Northwest. One more weak one across Pacific Northwest there. And then the Arctic air starts to arrive, and you can clearly see it come down the coastline shown here. And it starts to develop some cyclogenesis here. First storm impacting California here as we go on in through about January 29th. 28th, 29th shown there, and then the additional system off the coastline here that would bring additional precipitation to the state towards the end of the month there. So that's about the timing as far as we know it right now. So we'll continue to watch this day by day as we get closer to these events, but it looks like it's going to return to an active pattern here. Total precipitation This is the European last night's run. This goes out 240 hours, 10 days. And you can see towards the end of the period here, you get towards Friday night, and that precipitation starts moving down off the coastline here. Some locally heavy amounts, again, are possible, especially for some of the higher terrain, coastal areas. Big snows for the Sierras are possible with this kind of setup as well. So, yeah, looks like that pattern is on the return here. Now, taking a look at the ensemble forecast here, trying to express some probability. There are some of these runs that don't show as much precipitation, but you can see there are some pretty hefty totals in here in some of these individual ensemble runs, including the control run. And the control run is the initial conditions in the atmosphere as best we understand them. Each one of these individual European ensemble runs has their initial conditions tweaked a little bit to try to correct for any errors we may have in our initial conditions here. So it can give us a very effective forecast. And you can see there's 50 individual ensemble member runs here, and the control run at the bottom here is a lower resolution version of the initial conditions. So hopefully that makes sense, but this kind of shows you a probabilistic outlook here of the forecast as we go on in through later January into February. This is Los Angeles. Also has the chance for a couple rounds of some fairly heavy precipitation down there, and of course higher in the higher terrain outside of the metro area there. This is Lake Tahoe. Check out the potential for some more big snowfall here coming across some of the Sierra Nevada there, with the control run up over 60 inches, another 5 feet by early February. Would be great if we can get it. So, and pretty good agreement here between some of the ensembles on the decent snowfall amounts incoming here towards the end of the month into early February. And again, just kind of the National Weather Service Eureka. This goes for the entire state of California, all the way down the coastline there. Watch out for those sneaker waves out there. You know, just have your heads up. Don't turn your back on the ocean when it's raging out there. But anyway, yeah, looks like an extended forecast fun here for California coming up here. But you got to deal with the Santa Anas going across, and a lot of the offshore winds really affecting a lot of the state here as you go in through the next few days there. So, yeah, we'll watch those storms, and we'll see how much this changes as we go. But right now, confidence is increasing here in an active pattern towards the end of the month, early February for California. So anyway, yeah, turn your notifications on. The channel's doing great. We're up over 30,000 members here. I will continue to cover California anytime active weather does impact it here, even though I do put out a briefing every single day for the Pacific Northwest, generally just because the weather is more active here. And I may extend out to other portions of the country as well, depending on what kind of weather is affecting areas there. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys are having a good day. You know, we'll probably do this again, if not tomorrow, the day after, to kind of watch and track those storms and see what kind of development we have in the forecast coming up here. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day, and I'll talk to you guys in a day or two.